for nominations for acting chair for this meeting this evening.
County Manager, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Eford.
Thank you, Commissioner Allman. Has a nomination for Commissioner Eford. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close the nominations, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Everyone was in favor, 7-0. And so, Commissioner Eford, you are the acting chairman this evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Commissioner Lawhon, I've asked Tyler to switch nameplates because I didn't want anybody tuning in tonight to think I was you.
I'm glad you did that.
All right, thank you.
Make sure the people that are there know that I am with you, but only by phone.
Yes, sir. All right, thank y'all very much. Number one on the list is public comment, and I do not have anyone that has signed up for that. Anyone out there? Okay. We'll move right along then. Number two on our list tonight is the Stanley Soil and Water Conservation District position request. And it says my presenter is Mr. Curtis Furr, but I don't see Curtis, but bless you.
Good evening, sir. I'm going to ask to sub for Curtis. Curtis is chairman of the Stanley Soil and Water District. I'm Chester Louder, and I'm vice chair. And we come to you tonight to discuss and ask for an upgrade to the position there in the office to from 63 to 68, grade 68. Our secretary or administrative assistant had left early June, so we have a lapsed time in there since the 1st of June. And to be more effective in our delivery of programs at the Soil and Water District, we would like to ask that that be moved back to full-time, as it was full-time many years ago, and it had dropped back to part-time in several years ago. So in light of that, I can answer any questions on our delivery, our programs. I'll be happy to do that. I do have our ag cost share technician, Amanda Kirby, with me tonight. She's probably better on the numbers than I am. So that is our request.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Louder. Any questions for Mr. Louder or Ms. Kirby?
One in that position currently?
No.
You hear that, Commissioner Lawhon?
Yes, and do we have someone ready to take that position over if this is approved?
In the interim, while our district cost share, ag cost share person was serving in her duty with the Army, we had a temporary person in there for the last year.
Yes.
Last year. Right now, she will probably stay on, and the board will consider what direction we want to go after, if we can get this approved, moving from grade 63 to grade 68.
Okay. Any more questions, sir?
All right, that's all.
All right, Commissioner Barbie has one.
It says the cost to the county will be $12,960. Would that be including health care benefits and that such too, retirement?
Yes, sir. That's
Yes.
a fully loaded cost of that position already gets retirement, and there's a 30-hour position gets retirement and health insurance. So it's just the health insurance is already fully accounted for. The retirement would just be the incremental difference between the pay and the 30 hours to 37 and a half hours. The only thing I would say, I know that they've asked for 68. may be best to just do that at the discretion of the county manager in consultation with HR, because it may be that it's more appropriately 67, and I still think we can meet their expectations in terms of where it falls out in the grade. And so that's the only thing I would ask for, and maybe not to vote to authorize the reclassification at a higher grade at the discretion of the county manager in consultation with HR, so that we can appropriately place that position with similar positions of technical expertise. That would be the only thing I would caution.
All right, thanks, sir. Any more questions?
Commissioner Everett, yes, I do have one more question. That's $12,960 is an increase. What is the total salary and benefits equal to based on that $12,960 increase? In other words, what's the salary that would be for this position?
Bill, that salary would be in the slightly over $40,000 range.
Yeah.
And so once you add health insurance and retirement in there, you're going to be probably pressing up against close to $60,000. But keep in mind that position, so if the difference is $12,000, if we're saying it's roughly $60,000 today, then right now, you're a little over $45,000 with salary, benefit, and retirement.
Did you catch that, Commissioner?
I did.
Okay, any more questions? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve of the Stanley Soil and Water Conservation District part-time position be increased to a full-time position, 37.5 hours, and reclassified to a higher grade at the discretion of the county manager in consultation with HR.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Allman and a second by Commissioner Furr. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passed 7-0. Bill, I didn't hear you and Tommy. I guess y'all voted.
I had you on mute. I'll vote yes.
All right,
Same here. Anything is yes.
okay. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Amanda, we'll contact you tomorrow with HR.
All right, next item is the Library Board of Trustees appointment. Our presenter, Ms. Hollis.
Good evening. Here this evening, Board Member Cindy Fish had to resign her position on the board due to being reappointed to another county board. We're very sad to lose her. So we do need to fill her unexpired term. That term will end 6/30 of 2023. We had 5 really good applicants this time, which the board was very pleased to see. Of those 5 applicants, 4 of them had library cards, and 3 of them specifically requested to be on the library board. So upon review, the board did sort of approve Ted Kalamatis, mostly just to give another gentleman on the board to serve with Commissioner Almond.
I make a motion, we listen to the board's recommendation and appoint Ted.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Shudo and a second by Commissioner Allman. Any discussion?
Who did they make a motion to appoint?
Ted
I didn't hear it.
Kalamalis, is that right? I didn't butcher that too bad then. Did you catch that, Commissioner?
I caught it.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries, 7-0.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
I hope your September library card month went well.
We don't have the statistics back, but I'll let you know.
All right, great. Hold on a second. Andy,
Oh,
let me
you're
get
good.
called up here.
I'm subbing for Candace, so I'm not Candace, but.
I hadn't even got that far yet. All right, number 4 on our agenda is the authorization resolution for North Carolina Commerce Grant. And our presenter is County Manager Andy Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This evening, there is a attached application, and we're seeking the application and the resolution for our grant to the Department of Commerce Industrial Development Fund to expand the road in Riverstone Industrial Park to meet the needs of American Racing Headers, who's was approved and made an announcement that they're going to be building a facility there at the corner of Nance Road and Browns Hill Road. And so this would allow us to complete the application and move forward with securing the state money for that project.
All
And
right,
I believe there's an extension of a water line as part of that too, further down the road.
You heard the request from County Manager Lucas. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the authorization resolution, North Carolina Commercial Grant Request.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Lawhon, a second by Commissioner Allman. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. I didn't hear a no. Sorry. All right, number 5 on the agenda is the authorization resolution for North Carolina Commerce Building Reuse Grant.
Yes, thank you. This is another, we're asking for authorization, well, the approval of the resolution and to authorize staff to execute the application for a building reuse grant for Project Drive. That is the project that is the expansion of an existing business just outside of Richfield on Highway 49. And so we'd ask the board's consideration on that project. I know that this is to assist with the expansion. This is the reuse piece of this. We also sought some funding from Golden Leaf to assist with the sewer extension for that same project that the county will also be participating in. But this is the building reuse side of the application. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for County Manager Andy Lucas?
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the resolution.
I have a motion by Commissioner Allman, a second by Commissioner Furr to approve the resolution. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? 7-0. I need to go back just for 1 second for some housekeeping. We did not approve the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by, a motion by Commissioner Allman, second. Second by Commissioner Furr. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Commissioner Lawhon, I know you wouldn't have done that, so I'm just trying to fill your shoes, sir.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Commissioner Shudo, did you have something, sir? I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just think that his voice is coming in after the thing, that's why I didn't get there. I think he's got a delay.
Must be. Okay, number 6 is a text amendment, section 423, short-term rentals, ZA 21-03, and our presenter is Mr. Bob Brimsberger, Planning Director. And I believe this is a carryover from our last meeting.
This is, good evening, gentlemen. Good to see you this evening, and bring this back to you with some minor adjustments. It was something that we heard at the last Board of Commissioner meeting and held the public hearing on the proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance for Stanley County dealing with short-term rentals, maybe better known as Airbnbs and that sort of thing. You had some very good suggestions and clarifications that you asked for at that meeting, at the last meeting. Hopefully I have, and the planning department has addressed those. You've got a memo. I will not read through all that, but if you have any questions or comments or anything about what has been presented, these changes, hopefully you're able to see that in the language of that was presented to you, so those changes, and hopefully they're sufficient for your approval this evening. So I'll entertain any questions or something that you may have, if you do have any.
All right, any questions for Mr. Remsburg? All right, I do have to ask something. Did we leave the public hearing open?
No, you did not.
So we don't have to have another one, right?
You-
Okay. All right, hearing no questions, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Allman's on fire. Motion by Mr. Allman, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shuto. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I think this will be a nice addition to the ordinance.
Mr. Remberg, I believe that's a record for you, sir, as far as the presentation.
A little hallelujah coming.
Thank you, sir. Okay, number 7 is a COVID-19 update. Director David Jenkins, Health and Human Services. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. Had a little technical difficulties earlier, but I think we've worked through them, I hope. Okay. We're gonna be able to share that. There we go. Make sure we can share that screen. Facebook was we keep up with our data on a Monday through Friday basis. And we also provide a weekly update on the COVID-19 numbers. But Facebook we had some IT issues Friday, and then today Facebook went down. So we weren't able to provide you the numbers for the day. But I do have the number of daily cases. We're 86 from over the weekend. Of that, 21 were pediatric. We currently have 24 hospitalizations. Unfortunately, 178 deaths in Stanley County community, and we're at a 12.6 positivity rate at this time. So that's just the numbers that we normally put out on our Facebook page and with the Stanley County Department of Public Health. All right, let's move on to the updates. This kind of has been tracking our weekly cases and our percent positive. As you can see, we are on a little bit of a decline, which is very good to see. We want to continue to see those positive cases decline and the percent positive go down as well. With that, we'll continue to watch as we get into more of the winter months with the holidays and see how the seasonality of this virus and the fact that there's holidays and people come together outside their normal social networks, see how that may influence the numbers as we move forward. But that is good news to see that. According to the Department of Health and Human Services dashboard, in Stanley County, 42% of the total population has had one dose, and we're 39% of the total population being fully vaccinated. As you can see, the average in the state is at 58% and 53%. And this kind of provides a map of overview of the percent of population fully vaccinated throughout the state. Right now, we're in more of a lighter shade of blue. We'd like to continue to work towards getting to one of the darker shades of blue because it shows a higher percentage of population being vaccinated. Taking into consideration, obviously, we will have some immunity from individuals that have contracted the virus, but obviously, if you haven't contracted the virus or they've improved in symptoms, we still encourage people to get the vaccine. I did want to provide kind of an overview of the cumulative total from the last time I met. It's been about a month ago. I presented on this information. And what I was able to pull to date, and we see we've got into 12 to 17, we've got an increase from 15 to 19%. 18 to 24 went from 22 to 26%. 25 to 49 went from 28 to 32%. The 50 to 64 age group went from 48 to 52%. 65 to 74 went up 1% to 71. And we saw a 2% increase in our 75 and older age. So slowly but surely we're getting there. A little bit, we get a lot of questions on booster doses and third doses, so I just want to provide a brief overview. Pfizer third dose has been approved. It initially came out for the moderately to severely immunocompromised, then it rolled out for 65 and older, and ages 18 to 64 with underlying medical conditions or incongruent living or certain high-risk working conditions such as healthcare, teaching, corrections, etc. Moderna third dose is approved only for those that are moderately to severely immunocompromised at this time, but CDC recommends a third dose of the same mRNA vaccine be used. So if you had Pfizer, they recommend staying with Pfizer. If you got Moderna the first time around, they recommend sticking with the Moderna vaccine. Johnson & Johnson and Moderna third dose is under review. When I say Moderna, I mean outside of those that are moderately severely immunocompromised. So hopefully we'll get some more news from FDA and CDC moving forward sometime this month. Vaccines for children ages 5 to 11 may be approved end of October is what we're hearing at this time. You can receive an influenza vaccine at the same time as your COVID vaccine or your booster. And that is my presentation update this evening, Commissioner, on COVID-19.
Thank you, Director Jenkins. Any questions for Mr. Jenkins?
Yeah, I just want to appreciate all you've done over the past few months informing us and stuff. And I was looking at the chart, if you go back to the chart about how COVID's going back, right there. I remember early on in August, this is pretty much what you guys predicted, is that it was going to go up, then it was going to drop down. But unfortunately, going into the winter time and the fall and colder weather, what are the projections for that?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, with we have to look at the seasonality of the virus. Usually, if you look at what happened last year, especially around the Thanksgiving and Christmas, when we had more people out traveling and coming into contact with people they may not normally spend time with, even though they may be family members, that may or not be vaccinated. So those are some of the things we have to look at with the data. But again, that's the reason why we continue to encourage individuals to get their COVID vaccine to be able to protect themselves and their family members.
I just want to give, while you're here, I just want to give a shout out to Nicole Williams and Atrium Health. Nicole, Vaccinated partnered with her and Atrium, and Nicole was a big part of helping promote it. And normally when Atrium comes to town, they'll have between 13 to 20 people will get vaccinated on a daily basis. With the vaccine clinics we put together with Nicole and the help of the hospital, got 33, 53, and 56 people got vaccinated. So it's a struggle, but we can get more people vaccinated if we just offer and just keep asking people. And my biggest thing was, when this thing started again, I'm worried about the fall and that people, just because it's going down, to just drop their safeguards, because every time we drop our safeguards, bam, it's a virus. It just wants to jump from body to body. So encourage people to follow COVID safety guidelines. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Shudo. Anyone else?
Commissioner Eifert, I do have a question.
Yes, sir,
For
Commissioner.
Mr. Jenkins. Out of the breakthrough cases, has anyone that has had a breakthrough case resulted in death in Stanley County?
Commissioner, I need to go back and look at the data. I know we've had some hospitalizations, but I'd have to go back and look at the data and check and see if we've had any deaths that were breakthrough cases. So I can get that information for you.
If If you would do that, I would appreciate it.
Commissioner Lawhon,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan, I was having a discussion with the person from Atrium the other day, and while I can't speak for the county, that was a top specific thing that person brought up to clarify. They said that they have not seen one breakthrough case go on a ventilator because they work in that department. They said every single case that Atrium had that had been ventilated was non-vaccinated. So I think the answer is no.
Yeah. Well, that information, in my opinion, might be helpful to some folks that don't want to get the vaccine, that might be persuaded to get the vaccine because of that type of information.
I agree.
Thank you, Commissioners. Any more questions? Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
Number 8, Consolidated Human Services Board appointments, and our presenter is Mr. Jenkins.
I'm here again. So we have 6 members of our Human Services Board that are expiring, and their expiration for their position on our Consolidated Human Services Board is November 6th. And our Human Services Board has made several recommendations, and I'll read those to you now, even though I believe you have that information. Reappoint term for pharmacist member Eric Kane. Reappointment for expiring term for dentist member Dr. Tom Norwood. Reappointment for optometrist member Dr. James Marshall. Reappointment for veterinary member Dr. Amy Jordan. Approve moving one of our general public members to fill the expiring term for registered nurse Ms. Shirley Louder. She chose not to become a board member again, to re-up. So Dr. Joan Udi, who is a registered nurse on our board, is currently holding a general public member spot, would like to move to that position. And approve one vacant general public member to serve remainder of term, Ms. Sherry Poplin. And those are the recommendations from the Health and Human Services Board. To my knowledge, none have served on any other boards at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Any questions?
Chairman, this is
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, Jordan. As a point of order, do I need to recuse myself since my wife is one of the members that are being reappointed potentially?
I would say,
Question.
Just for her nominee, I would imagine. Just for her.
yes. Jeannie is saying yes, that is correct, just for her nominee, but you can vote on all the other ones.
Well, you might want to just approve them as a slate. So I don't expect a lot of controversy. I would just say I'd like to recuse myself from this vote.
Actually, I think if it'd be just as easy, we could just do her separately, and then we could do a slate.
Okay.
All right, is that okay with you?
So vote for the other 6, and then I'll recuse myself for the second vote.
I'd like to approve the reappointment of Dr. Amy Jordan to be our veterinarian.
All right, I have a motion on the floor for Dr. Amy Jordan. I got a second, motion from Peter, a second from Commissioner Furr. Any discussion?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I don't care, but for the sake of doing it right, Peter, you need to retract that motion, and you need to make the motion for me to recuse myself and approve that first. Otherwise, it's going to count my vote, even if I don't say anything.
That is true. Thank you, sir.
Very good.
Reason you guys make the big bucks out there.
I'm gonna hold off on that motion, and I'd like to make a motion that we recuse Commissioner Jordan from this vote.
All right, I got a motion to recuse Mr. Jordan.
Please
second.
recuse me. Don't look.
Yeah, a second from Mr. Allman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dr. Amy Jordan to the Consolidated Health and Human Services Board.
All right, I have a motion for Dr. Jordan by Commissioner Shudo, a second by Mr. Furr. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
I'd like to now make a motion
Yes, sir.
to approve the rest of the slate as recommended by the Health and Human Services Board.
All right, I got a motion by Commissioner Shudo and a second by Commissioner Allman to approve the rest of the slate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Health and Human Services Board, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. All right, let me get caught back up here. All right, number 9 is the initial draft for the ARP fund proposal, and our presenter is County Manager Lucas.
Bear with me a second while I get it. Come up here. All right, thank you. I wanted to present an initial proposal for the use of our American Rescue Plan funds, just to get the conversation started with the board around the use of these funds. You may or may not be aware, we will receive almost $12.2 million from the American Rescue Plan. We'll receive that in 2 separate, I refer to them as tranches. One we've already received, the $6.1 million. We received that in May of 2021. And you all took action to place that funding in a special reserve account, which it has to be held in. We will receive the second tranche sometime in May of 2022 or later. The guidance at this point is that it will be no earlier than 12 months from when we receive the first allocation. Those funds, all those funds, the $12.2 million, must be fully encumbered by December 31st, 2024, and have to be fully spent by December 31st, 2026. The expenditures have to align with one of 4 broad categories, and we're still waiting on the final U.S. Treasury guidance and the state budget. We believe there's some opportunities with the state budget to help leverage some of these funds, and so that's why we haven't been overly aggressive of going out there and trying to put a plan or ask you all to spend funding, because we're really waiting on the state and the final Treasury guidance, because we don't want to spend money and have to pay it back. The expense categories, you can spend it on water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. The water and sewer funds have to be spent on projects that would normally qualify for clean water state revolving fund loans or drinking water state revolving fund loans. And drinking water obviously is water projects. Clean water, in some cases, is water, can be storm water, as well as sewer. And there's going to be opportunities to leverage state dollars through some of these grants. So we may be able to take, for every dollar of our money, we may be able to pick up $1 of state money. So we may be able to do that. So I think it's going to be important to try to leverage those grant dollars. And, those are obviously the House and the Senate have agreed on a budget, but now they're in negotiations with the governor's office, and we'll see where that heads and how long that process takes. You can also use the funding to mitigate a health crisis response or to mitigate the negative impacts of COVID. That could be things like public assistance, business assistance, nonprofit assistance, grants to impacted industries, etc. You can mitigation of COVID in congregate living facilities, such as our jail. Additional public health resources for education, mitigation, vaccination, contract tracing, etc. Can also use the funding to premium pay to eligible workers, and those have to be essential employees. And the guidance we're looking at right now is mainly your public safety employees. And then you can also use it for revenue replacement due to COVID-related reductions. To provide government service to the extent of the reduction in revenue to COVID-19. Our issue is we really didn't have a revenue reduction because of COVID. Our Agri-Civic Center had a reduction in revenue, but we did so well from a sales tax perspective and a property tax perspective last year that it negated the $25,000 to $30,000 we lost at the Agri-Civic Center. And so overall, we didn't lose any. Our budget was significantly greater in terms of revenue than we anticipated. The basis for our initial proposal, staff's perspective, is that we would like these investments to be long-term impact. This is sort of probably a once in a lifetime. I don't envision, I sort of hope that as a county manager, I don't ever have the $12.2 million of federal money coming to us, because that's usually not a good thing. That the reason why we're getting that kind of money. It's either a really bad recession or it's a pandemic or something else. And so I'm hopeful we won't see these kinds of funds coming in, just from a standpoint of it's usually a natural disaster or something bad's happen for these funds to come. But while we have these, and it is a once in a lifetime, we want to, as staff, we want to recommend that these investments be long-term investments, that these dollars, that people will look back on these funds and say, gosh, that was a really good use of the funding by the county commissioners, 20 years from now. And so investments that will stimulate further growth and tax base, investments that will improve quality of life for a significant number of residents. And to me, the goal is for residents 10 to 15 years from now to look back and feel like the benefits of those investments. So yes, there's some things in there that you could do with the money, but 10 years from now, people are going to look back and say, well, why didn't Stanley County do this? Or they could have built a water line, or they could have done that to sewer to expand and growth. So you're going to see that our initial proposals are really based in infrastructure to stimulate our economy, grow our tax base, and really impact people's lives. Our initial proposal is to take $1.65 million and put it towards broadband expansion, and to leverage the state's GREAT grant program. And so we're working with consultants, as many of you know, to do some pre-work for us in applications, so we can be prepared once the state's GREAT grant program comes out. And we haven't, but we would recommend that $1.65 million be used for broadband, to enhance broadband in our community. We would recommend investment of $3.5 million in the expansion of water lines in unserved areas. That's been a big hot topic for this board. I'm looking at several commissioners, and I can say I know Commissioner Eford's got an area out in Locust that he's been looking at for a number of years to be able to expand water to an unserved area. I think this is a great opportunity. In the past, we've had to use local property tax dollars or our utility funds. Here's an opportunity to take $3.5 million of federal money and use that to hit some of these areas where people really need good potable water. They have really bad water. And so, and also $500,000 be used to extend water service for corporate hangars at the airport. Sewer, again, about $500,000 be set aside for the expansion of sewer for corporate hangars at the airport. And again, that's all about stimulating growth and tax base. And investing almost $6 million of the $12 million into the 2.5 million gallon expansion for the West Stanley wastewater treatment plant. We know that's going to be a $15 to $20 to $25 million project, and so the more grant money we can put in this, that means the less money we got to borrow, and the less we have to impact our rates in the future. And so anytime we can put grant money to this, I think it's a great opportunity. And then investing in government, in this project will likely happen fairly soon. We would like to take $75,000 of it and use it to enhance the HVAC ventilation in our jail facility to mitigate the COVID spread. And so in replacing the existing HVAC units that are not in great shape anyways, and putting the UV lights on those. And so as that air circulates, hits those UV lights and kills the COVID. And we've done that. Some of our units here, the health department did that in the health department with their units. Gosh, it's probably been a few months ago. And so we think that this is an appropriate use to try to enhance that congregate living facility, especially given how close quarters those folks are. If we can improve that air circulation, hopefully it'll improve our ability to deal with COVID in the jail. So an overview of the $12.199 million, 1.65 would be for broadband, $3.5 million for water line expansion. You could actually say that's $4 million if you add the $500,000 for water lines at the airport. The West Stanley wastewater treatment expansion, using roughly $6 million for that expansion. and then sewer lines at the airport, and then the 75,000 for ventilation enhancement at the jail to get us to the 12.199 million. And I'll stop there and answer any questions, and we can have any discussion. And I realize this is hitting you for the first time, and so I know some of you may, want to talk offline and have some conversations. And I know, we're not anticipating bringing anything forward in terms of a budget amendment, taking any of this money from the reserve to do anything, at least initially, over the course of at least the next couple weeks until we can kind of see where a state budget at. I would think maybe the initial thing we would do is the money for the jail. We want to get those things ordered and get those replaced fairly soon. So you may see a budget amendment for that as soon as 2 weeks from now. But the rest of those dollars, I don't envision us wanting us as staff bringing forward any recommendations until we get a state budget approved, because that'll impact the great grants with broadband. It'll impact water and sewer, which is where we're recommending the funding go. And we believe that really accomplishes the goals of having that long-term impact, enhancing our tax base and stimulating growth in our economy. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for County Manager Lucas? I'm glad that we can levy some of those funds to matching grant possibilities that's out there, so.
Yep. Or at least we're keeping our fingers crossed that
Right.
we'll see that in the state budget. I mean, what we've seen from a House and the Senate, there are going to be opportunities. What comes out of this whole process, if they can negotiate a good budget with the governor, hopefully will be, those funds will stay in there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, number 10 on our agenda is jury commission appointment, and our presenter is County Manager Lucas.
Thank you. The Tate Daniels' term as the commissioner's appointment to the jury commission, his term expired actually on Friday. He's agreed to serve another term for 3 years that would end on September 30th, 2024. There's 3 members on the jury commission. 2 of those are, one of those is appointed by the clerk of court, the other by the Superior Court judge. And so this would be the county's appointment to that jury commission for a 3-year term, Mr. Tate Daniels, who's currently the mayor of the town of New London. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions? What's the pleasure of the board? I got a motion by Mr. Barbie to reappoint Mr. Daniels, second by Commissioner Furr. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion carries, 7-0. Next item is consent agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Shuto. Second? Second by Commissioner Furr. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the last item we have is board comments, announcements, and committee reports. I will start with Commissioner Jordan.
Nothing for me, sir. Thank you for doing the job that neither Bill or I could be there to do tonight. We appreciate it. I'm down here in South Carolina. I'm not going to tie you guys up. You did a great job tonight, sir. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lawhon. You still with us, Bill?
Yeah, I had my mute on it. I didn't mean to. I also echo, I appreciate Commissioner Eford for chairing the meeting tonight in my absence and Tommy's absence. Tommy's in South Carolina. I'm also in South Carolina on a vacation, so I appreciate the opportunity not to have to come back to Stanley County tonight. And I appreciate Commissioner Eford for handling the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But you are coming back, correct?
If the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, I am coming back to Stanley County.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Shuto.
I just want to say that to remind the municipalities, the grant applications are now open for the Parks and Rec grant program that we put together. And I know I've spoken with folks at the city of Albemarle, town of Baden, and village of Meisenheimer, and all three of those are working on some projects. The one in Albemarle, they're looking at two different things. One of them, this grant would help piggyback on a bigger grant that they're gonna try to get from someone else to make some nice little, I can't really say what it is because it's kind of like just an idea. That'll be good for a lot of people in Albemarle. But I'm looking forward to those municipalities bringing us their proposals.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Barbie.
No comment.
Commissioner Furr. Thanks, sir. Commissioner Ullman.
Just a quick remark. Myself, Commissioner Furr, and Commissioner Jordan went and toured the new Morrow facility with County Manager Lucas, and a really impressive place and it's top notch. One other thing is, you know, you don't have many people come up to you talking about watching the county commission meetings on television, but there's always this one gentleman who would always come up to me and talk about our meetings, and I think he watched every one of them. And J.P. Pickler, he passed away this past Friday, so remember him in your prayers and his family.
Certainly will. I did not know that. Thanks, sir. I do have just a couple things. You guys appointed me to the Partners Behavioral Health Board. I attended the first meeting September 16th, and tell you the truth, I'm really impressed with that organization. They had nothing but good things to say about County Manager Lucas and staff for the transition, and they made it a point to tell us, and we had two, Union County and myself were the two new ones coming on. Forsyth County is coming on, I think, in the end of October or 1st of November.
Yeah, I believe it's the November 1st, I believe.
Right. But they assured us they would do everything possible to make sure no one fell through the cracks. So again, I think that's going to be a good move for us. October, I'm wearing pink if y'all can't tell. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There's not a person in this room that hadn't been affected by cancer in some way or another. And I just want you to be aware of that. Hospice right across the street in our parking lot, they're celebrating their 40th anniversary. 10/6 of 81 is their first start date. So thank them for all that they do. And today I had the pleasure of coming and Insurance Commissioner Causey presented some checks to some local fire departments. I think it was $175,000 if I remember correctly, to several, there's probably 10 or 11 local rural fire departments in our area that they presented those checks to each. I mean, I think one of them ranged from like $1,500, and I think there was like a $28,000 check, I believe, that was presented to the fire department. So Representative Wayne Sasser was here, and we certainly appreciate any time that those guys out of Raleigh wants to come and bring the big checks to, you know, our guys. We certainly appreciate that. And that's all I have. Hearing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Furr, second by Mr. Barbie. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.